welcome. Tonight, House of Representatives steps in following widespread outrage over the recent Yellow-Water killings in Benue State. Lawmakers are launching a probe into the president's persistent violence in that region. And over at the Senate, lawmakers are raising red flags about the wave of killings across the country, suggesting some of them may be acts of terror. President Bola Tinubu takes a swift swipe at those forming a coalition to challenge him in 2027, describes them as politically displaced individuals, internally displaced, that is. And on the global stage, NATO leaders have agreed to boost defense spending to 5% of their country's economic output by the year 2025. U.S. President calls the move a big win for global winners.
On business news tonight, President Bola Tinubu to sign into law 4 groundbreaking tax reform bills that will transform Nigeria's fiscal and revenue framework on Thursday, June the 26th.
On sports news tonight, Cristiano Ronaldo is said to extend stay at Al Nassr with the 40-year-old close to agreeing new contract with Saudi Pro League club.
And from the nation's capital, crisis-rocking People's Democratic Party far from over as the party leaders bicker over reinstatement of Samuel Anyanwu as party's national secretary after meeting the electoral umpire.
Anytime a killing is reported in Benue State, the first thing that comes to mind is not again. Well, the House of Representatives is also worried about this and has now resolved to get to the bottom of the killings in the state. The latest attack in Yellow-Water, which claimed over 50 lives, prompted the decision of the lawmakers following a motion by Honorable Dixon Tahir urging the House to urgently act to prevent a recurrence. Relevant committees have also been mandated to visit Yellow-Water community for an on-the-spot assessment. Our National Assembly correspondent Terry Kumi has details of this and more from the House.
Members of the House of Representatives reconvened for the second plenary session of the week. Once again, the issue of security is in focus as the attention of the House is drawn to the security situation in Benue State, especially the recent killings that occurred in Yellow-Water community.
Worried that any delay in response and lack of comprehensive security measures may escalate the violence and deepen humanitarian crisis in the area. My prayers, Mr. Speaker, the House resolved that the House mandates the relevant House Committee on Interior and Security to immediately visit Yellow-Water and affected communities in Guma local government to assess the situation on the ground and report back with recommendations.
An amendment to address the recurring killings is taken and the motion is passed.
I want to propose that a special ad hoc committee be set up to look at the insecurity in Benue State that has gone on for the past 15 years as a House and profile a very holistic solution that can bring about peace to Benue State, which, Mr. Speaker, as we know, is the food basket of the nation and has become plagued by this insecurity, leading to low performance in our agriculture and our farmers unable to return to their farms.
Another business undertaking in the House is the consideration of the budget of the Nigeria Customs Service. The committee is recommending that some fees being charged by customs be dropped as they are illegal.
We are urged to mandate the Nigerian Customs to stop collection of 1% not backed by any known law of Parliament. So if it's not backed by law, do we need to actually ask them to stop collection of something that is not backed by law?
But it doesn't hurt if you put it. It doesn't offend anything.
During the military era, that was when there was a military instruction from the head of state that they should take 7% of whatever they collected. And the CISS, Comprehensive Import Supervision Scheme, was designed to take care of the service providers So that time they were doing this job on behalf of customs, but they have all gone. So everything has been done by customs. The only legal money they're supposed to collect is the 4% FOB.
The committee also recommends the reintroduction of excise on telecom services and single-used plastics policies. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
The Senate, on its part, is beaming its searchlight on the spate of killings in different parts of the country, be it Benue, Plateau, Kaduna or Taraba. The Senate is tagging the killings as possible acts of terror, asking the Inspector General of Police to deploy his men. In binary motions of urgent national importance, lawmakers bemoan the killings of Nigerians in different parts of the country, raising fears that they might have political undertones. Our National Assembly correspondent, Gloria Umezoke, reports.
President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, leads other lawmakers for plenary on the second legislative day. A matter of urgent national importance on the need to investigate the killings across the country is whipped up as motions on the Yelwata and Mangu killings are debated on the floor.
Something is wrong. The killing in Yelwata is pure terrorism. Fewer genocidal activity. The resurgence of insecurity in the country, I hope is not politically linked. Let me just hope that it's just the increase in terrorism and banditry. Otherwise, God will not allow those who are sponsoring these kind of things and financing these killings to go free.
The intervention of the military, according to some lawmakers, has also been apt.
The enthusiasm displayed in the party spirit of the troops of Operation Hardin Kai, not only repelling Boko Haram attack, but they are able to reclaim communities that are hitherto under the tight control of Boko Haram.
The Senate resolves to commence investigation into the killings of 12 travelers from Zaria to Plateau State. Shortly after, the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on the Rivers Emergency Rule submits its report on the screening and approval of the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, who is a non-indigene, and then tensions rise.
We are supposed to be guided by more than constitution. We are supposed to be guided by the conscience. We are the highest decision-making body in this country politically. Please.
I'm talking about ethics. This is somebody who has less than 3 months. Lead and 4 months to stage. When is he going to conduct this election? When is he going to inaugurate this election?
Either in the constitution or in case law, the man is eligible, and that's why our committee has so recommended him.
In spite of the contention, the overwhelming majority adopted the report.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
The 1.485 trillion naira 2025 budget of Rivers State is also considered and passed through third reading.
Meanwhile, the senators passed a 1.132 trillion naira expenditure plan for the Nigeria Customs Service for the 2025 fiscal year, with a pledge to tighten oversight functions on the revenue-generating agency. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezoke, Channels Television News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says 110, yes, you heard that right, 110 associations have applied to the commission seeking registration as political parties, and that's ahead of the 2027 general elections. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, announced this in Abuja at a consultative meeting and media executives. Well, according to the INEC boss, the number represents those that had submitted letters of intent as of June the 23rd, 2025. So it's safe to say that more may be waiting in the wings.
For the record, the present commission registered the largest number of political parties in Nigeria, strictly following the provision of the electoral legal framework. For the 2019 general election, there were 91 political parties and 73 presidential candidates. The commission was criticized in some quarters for registering too many political parties. After the election, the Commission also deregistered over 70 political parties as provided by law. We wish to reassure Nigerians that under the current situation, we will continue to operate strictly by the provisions of the law and in fairness to all associations seeking registration as political parties. We will treat all requests fairly. Nigerians will be fully briefed of the actions taken by the Commission every step of the way. As at Monday, 23rd June 2025, the Commission received letters of intent from 110 associations that wish to register as political parties. We are diligently processing the requests in line with the procedure outlined in the law, as well as our regulations and guidelines. We have acknowledged all the requests received so far, except 6 of them received recently, which will be done before the end of the week.
The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has reinstated Mr. Samuel Anyanwu as the National Secretary of the party, and this is following its meeting with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Tuesday. The party has also suspended its planned National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for June the 30th. Instead, the planned meeting will be an expanded caucus. Acting National Chairman of the party, Umar Damagum, announced this reinstatement at the news conference in Abuja, which was had in attendance the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Bala Mohammed, and the former Senate President, Bukola Saraki. The decision to reinstate the National Secretary of the party followed the meeting with the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu.
I have decided to abide by the advice they gave us. Especially, we have a very, very important election before us. That is the FCT election. And we are running out of time. So we have no option but to abide by the decision. After due consultation and everything, we thought it's a bitter pill, but we have to swallow it. When I said critical decision, I now is resuming as the National Secretary. I think that's the most important thing. We'll have a caucus, expanded caucus, so that we'll discuss extensively the way forward to NEC. That would be on the 30th. We'll issue the notice. It will not going to be NEC, but an expanded caucus.
While it appears the controversy surrounding the office of the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party is far from over, as some party leaders have kicked against this decision to reinstate Mr. Anyanwu. A statement signed by the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Debo Olugwagba, and 10 others, including the Deputy National Chairman South, the Acting National Secretary, the National Auditor, and the National Vice Chairman Southeast and Southwest, have described the decision to reinstate Mr. Anyanwu as null and void and misleading. The statement also maintains that contrary to the announcement of the cancellation of June 30th as a National Executive Committee meeting day and replacing it with an expanded caucus meeting, the planned NEC meeting will still hold as scheduled. In part 2, after the break, we'll bring you details of President Bola Tinubu's visit to Nasarawa State. Please join us again.
Governor Abdullahi.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. House of Representatives steps in following widespread outrage over recent Yelawata killings in Benue State. Lawmakers are launching a probe into the persistent violence in the region. And at the Senate, lawmakers are raising red flags over the wave of killings across the country, suggest some of them may be acts of terror. President Tinubu takes a swipe on those forming a coalition to challenge him in 2027, describes them as politically displaced individuals, that is, internally displaced persons. And on the global stage, NATO leaders have agreed to boost defense spending to 5% of the country's economic output by 2025. U.S. President calls the move a big win for global security. President Bola Tinubu appears not to be bothered about the recent formation of a coalition, which the promoters are saying is to unseat the president come 2027. The president, in his first reaction to the coalition, describes those at the forefront of the coalition as persons who have been internally displaced. The president was speaking in Nasarawa State, where he commissioned 3 legacy projects of the Abdullahi Sule administration. Our correspondent Halima Gayem reports.
Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State marks 6 years in office and celebrates it by inviting the President of Nigeria to commission some projects. President Bola Tinubu is in Nasarawa State on a one-day walking visit. This is his first official visit to the state. 3 projects tagged the legacy projects of the Abdullahi Sule administration are lined up for commissioning, among other empowerment initiatives across security and agriculture. The projects comprise the Lafia Flyover and Underpass project, the dualized Shandam Road, and the new state secretariat, all situated in Lafia, the state capital. The president arrived at the Usman Danfodio Airport Wednesday afternoon to a reception led by the host governor, who is joined by the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and governor of Kwara State, Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak, the chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Hope Uzodimma, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, and the governors of Niger, Borno, Kaduna, Benue, and Ogun states, among other dignitaries. The president proceeds to inspect the Guard of Honor. The entourage then moves to the Lafia Flyover and Underpass, flanked by Governor Abdullahi Sule and other stakeholders, where the president cut the ribbon.
May God bless the state. I therefore commissioned the project.
He unveils the Shandam Road and commends the governor's management of resources. Next on the agenda is the stakeholders meeting, which is presided over by Mr. President.
Sule is doing well, because Bola Tinubu is doing well too. Those who have triggered the alley politics and the perdition of coalition, suddenly just don't pay them any attention.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development briefs the audience on the reforms in the mining sector.
In Nasarawa State alone, we have attracted over $800 million direct foreign investment into the sector. And Your Excellency, only 3 days ago, I sealed another historic deal of a $400 million rare earth minerals and critical metals plant, which is the largest in Africa, to be sited in Nasarawa State.
Governor Abdullahi Sule comments the reforms of the president, which he notes enabled the delivery of infrastructural projects. he wants the president to approve the continuation of the Nasarawa oil exploration.
We are asking you, Your Excellency, to ensure that they come back and drill the next exploration well, the appraisal well, and the development package, so that we can start producing oil from that site. Your Excellency, we are telling you that this is the best for the country, this inland. We will become another Saudi Arabia if we have a deep onshore operations, so that we can have an integrated oil and gas facilities.
As President Bola Tinubu pledges to support the Abdullahi Sule's administration, he uses the medium to urge APC stalwarts to pay no attention to any coalition.
They are the political IDPs. Don't give them a home. The hope is here. Sule is doing well. We will support whatever a Governor Sule brings about to work harder for the prosperity and renaissance of Nasarawa State.
Governor Abdullahi Sule reiterates his commitment to provide the dividends of democracy, promising the delivery of more impactful projects in his remaining 2 years of stewardship. Halima Agayam, Channels Television News.
The news at 10 continues now as we head over to Abuja studios, where Millicent Walker is standing by to bring us more stories. Over to you, Millicent.
Many thanks, Anne. Well, let's take you back to the controversy over the office of National Secretary for the PDP, where surprisingly, or rather not surprisingly, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has added his voice to that controversy. Mr. Nyesom Wike criticized the directive, asking Mr. Sam Anyanwu to resume duties as National Secretary of the party, as he insists that Mr. Anyanwu has been working in that capacity and will continue to do so. Mr. Wike gave his position during the commissioning of the newly constructed interchange linking the N20, also known as the Wole Soyinka Way, to the Murtala Mohammed Expressway. Our correspondent Kumbi Aboluade has more.
It's day 10 of project commissioning by the Federal Capital Territory Administration, and today's focus is on these newly constructed interchange bridges of Arterial Road N20, also known as Wole Soyinka Way, to the Murtala Mohammed Expressway. The construction includes 2 bridges with a 1.8-kilometer interconnecting way linking Jahi, Katankwe, Mabuchi, Suleja, and other adjoining districts. The FCT ministers speak on the essence of the project.
This interchange bridge will definitely improve the transportation network in the FCT, and it will definitely improve the economic growth of FCT and the nation at large.
This is not 3D. This is not what we will do. This is what we have done. I'm sure for those of us who are frequent users of this area will understand the importance of this interchange.
Delving into politics, Mr. Wike criticized the directive by the People's Democratic Party to reinstate Mr. Sam Anyanwu as the party's national secretary.
I heard it when the acting national chairman of PDP was directing the national secretary to resume. National secretary is not your appointee. National secretary has been doing his work, so you can't call him to resume because of the illegalities you perpetrate, and that you don't show leadership. That's where you put yourself where you are. I feel so bad when people can now move to INEC for INEC to direct them to the Supreme Court judgment. It's most unfortunate.
The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, who represented President Bola Tinubu, begins his speech by reacting to the FCT minister's comment.
I did not come here to talk politics. I came to speak projects. So projects I will concentrate. But if you want me to make a remark, I will say that however you people got yourself into this confusion, try and get yourself out of it very quickly. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is very interested in seeing a vibrant opposition. Just before I came here to represent him, I received and read a letter from the Labour Party. So it's not only PDP that is in disarray. Even the Labour Party is cracked.
He then goes ahead to read the president's address.
This bridge, strategically linking key areas and easing the flow of traffic, will unlock new opportunities for commerce, reduce travel time, and contribute directly to increased productivity and a better quality of life for all who traverse these vital routes.
This project, which was awarded in November 2020, forms part of projects inherited by the present administration. The FCT administration believes that the project will help ease traffic congestion along the Kubwa Expressway and Suleja, among others. Kumbi Apoluade, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, President Bola Tinubu to sign into law 4 groundbreaking tax reform bills on Thursday. That's on Business News. To join us again. You're watching the news coming to you live from our Abuja studios. Well, history has been made in Nigeria's maritime sector as the Onne multi-purpose terminal in River State becomes the first port in West Africa to receive an LNG-powered container ship. Well, the vessel, Kota Oasis, is being hailed as a major leap towards sustainable shipping.
It was a sight to behold as the Kota Oasis, a Singaporean-flagged LNG-powered container ship, berthed at the Onne multipurpose terminal in River State. The 260-meter-long vessel, operated by Pacific International Lines, is not just massive in size, boasting over 78,000 gross registered tonnage and 8,350 TEU capacity. It is also a symbol of the future of eco-friendly trade. Welcoming the ship and its crew at a brief reception, the managing director of Onne Multipurpose Terminal, Nicolo Scaniavini, described the moment as transformative for Nigerian shipping.
We believe that this is going to be a game changer in the trade, coming from Asia to Africa. It's going to boost the trade even more, make the Nigerian economy grow even more than what it is right now. And this is definitely a positive improvement as well because it's going to be environmental friendly. So less pollution for us, for the communities, for all the people living and working in this beautiful area of Nigeria.
OMT currently services 2 major international shipping lines and is positioning itself as a leading green port operator in the region. Speaking on behalf of the ship operators, Pacific International Lines, Mr. Drovkoli explains its significance.
For us, it is an absolute pleasure that we are able to operate a vessel of this size and with this complexity in a market like Nigeria, wherein we want to be growing together with our partners, together with our vendors, together with our customers, the authorities, the general population, and contribute to improving the Nigerian economy.
For the PIL's National Operations Manager, there will be more of these types of vessels coming into Onne soon.
Upfleeting, resizing, and modernizing our fleets. We have a fleet of over 100 vessels calling several locations, over 500 ports all over the world. So we are upsizing those vessels and we are modernizing them. And Kota Oasis is a testament of exactly what we're doing. Which is LNG powered. There's going to be 4 of them in rotation, following what we call the South West Africa service. So running along the coast from Ghana, Lome, and all the way to the Nigerian ports.
The historic berthing was made possible through collaboration between OMT and regulatory agencies, including the Nigerian Ports Authority and the Nigeria Customs Service. The vessel is expected to enhance direct trade between Nigeria and Asia, reduce emissions, bolster West Africa's maritime capacity, and benefits Nigerian shipping. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
Well, that's it from the nation's capitals. Back to Anne for more on the news at 10.
Thank you, Millicent. To company news now, Sub-Saharan Africa's leading cement company, Dangote Cement PLC, has declared a dividend of 30 naira per share for the year ended 2024. The chairman of Dangote Cement PLC, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, made this declaration at the 16th annual general meeting of the company here in Lagos. Mr. Dangote also reaffirmed the strength of the company's diversified footprint, adding that strong performance in relatively stable markets in Cameroon, Congo and Zambia have helped mitigate regional volatility.
Africa's leading cement producer, Dangote Cement PLC, is marking a major milestone with its 16th annual general meeting holding at the conference room of Eco Hotels and Suites, Lagos. The event is bringing together an array of shareholders, board of directors, industry leaders, and business analysts for what is turning out to be a celebration of resilience, innovation, and forward momentum.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this 16th annual general meeting of our company.
Under the theme, Scaling Efficiency for Social Development, the AGM opens with a message of gratitude and growth from the chairman, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, who emphasizes the company's unwavering commitment to infrastructure development across Africa, spotlighting expansion into new regional markets.
Within this year also, Nigeria is actually the largest exporter of cement in the entire African continent. From the major importer, now today I can confirm to you that we export more than any other country.
Shareholders flip through pages of the 2024 annual report and accounts, approving a robust dividend payout and reflecting confidence in the company's long-term strategy. There is also room for re-election of members of the board of directors.
40 seconds more.
And then comes the big declaration.
I recommended that a dividend payment of 30 naira per share, subject to deduction of withholding tax, be declared in respect of the year ended 31st December 2024 and made payable by today, 23rd June 2023.
Shareholders are also impressed with the declaration as the company also experiences a 10.5% increase of 503.2 billion naira as against the 455.6 billion naira profit after tax income in 2023.
It's a very good development. It is the highest dividend paid, and the company is doing very well. You can see that from supplying Nigerians with cement. Now the company is exporting.
Dangote Cement is the only manufacturing company that paid highest dividend yield during the year under review with 6.84%.
With a production capacity of 52.0 million tons per year across 10 countries, the Dangote Cement PLC says it remains committed to building an inclusive and sustainable business for all stakeholders across the value chain.
Let's continue in the world of business. Dominic Iwewu is standing by to take us through the stories.
Thank you, Anne. Welcome to Business News. President Bola Tinubu is expected to sign into law 4 groundbreaking tax reform bills that will boost the country's fiscal and revenue framework tomorrow, Thursday, June the 26th. The 4 bills, which are the Nigeria Tax Bill, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, were passed by the National Assembly after extensive consultations with various interest groups and stakeholders. The new tax laws are expected to lead to increased revenue generation, improve business environment, and boost domestic and foreign investments in the country when they become operational. The African Export-Imports Bank, Afreximbank, has opened its 2025 annual meetings in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. The meeting, which is the final one for President Benedict Orama, serves as a time to review progress in the bank and its impact on the continent in the last 10 years. Our business editor, John Mekwa, is there and now reports.
Building the future on decades of resilience. That's how Afreximbank has decided to tailor the conversations at their 33rd annual meeting, which is holding in Abuja. So it's a common conversation now on how Africa can look inwards and maximize the potentials that the continent has. Afreximbank is not different. So while the climax of this meeting would be the announcement of a new president as Dr. Rama ends his tenure, the conversations on how Africa can actually do better financially, in trade and otherwise, that is what we begin the meetings with. Records show that about 7,000 delegates have registered to attend, mostly from African countries, but this time the Caribbeans are in attendance. Senior Executive President of Afreximbank, Dennis Denya, emphasizes the choice of the theme.
The theme also was influenced by the ongoing global developments as the world continues to experience waves of global shocks with significant implications, especially for developing and vulnerable countries.
Nigeria's governor of the central bank is full of commendation for not just the bank, but the president.
Over the last 32 years, Afrexim has grown from modest beginnings to become a symbol of African financial fortitude. From an initial capital base of $750 million, relatively small amount by international standards, the bank has expanded its capital assets to over 40 billion US as of the end of last year.
How intra-African trade is expanding, it's unlocking huge potential in sectors.
The opening event seems right to share the findings of the bank on the state of trade on the continent, captured in the Africa Trade Report.
The report calls for building a resilient, Africa-centered financial ecosystem led by African institutions anchored in local currencies and aligned with the continent's priorities.
And for the next 3 days, more perspectives will be shared on the theme and boosting ties on the African continent. John Mekwa, Channels Television News.
Another milestone has been recorded on the Nigerian exchange today as the all-share index soars past the 121,000 level for the first time ever. Willie Bong tells us more.
Welcome to the stock market reports. It's still a back-to-back hit of record highs at the NGX as the all-share index is moving into uncharted territory. At intraday, the index hit a new high, a record of 120,000 points, and just when analysts and traders were still trying to process it, boom, the index rose by 1.22% to close today's trading session at 121,257.69 points. And you know, good things, they do come in pairs. The market cap is not left out. It climbed to 76 trillion naira from 75 trillion naira. We closed it yesterday. And this is thanks to gains in MTN Nigeria, Buhari Cement, Okomo from the consumer goods sector, Dangote Sugar as well, Northern Nigeria Flour Mills, Zenith Bank and UBA from the banking sector, O&O from the oil and gas did so well to boost the index. And O&O and Dangote Sugar topped the gainers chart. If you see there, 10% rise each today. And O&O's Q1 2025 result appears to be sending investors to a buy frenzy. Everything just seems to be moving at neck-break speed. But like an analyst did say today, let's enjoy the ride as the index rises backed by volume in the markets. And those are the highlights. Will Ibang signing out.
Now let's have a look at the closing number for major global stock markets for Wednesday. And that's it on Business News. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Dominic. Still to come on the news at 10. NATO leaders have agreed to boost defense spending to 5% of their country's economic output by the year 2025. The U.S. president calls the move a big win for global security. Please join us again. Welcome back. Outside our shores, NATO leaders have agreed to ramp up defense spending to 5% of their country's economic output by the year 2035, following months of pressure from Mr. Donald Trump. Here's Simon Puser with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
See you on the plane.
Donald Trump and his top officials have pushed back on a leaked intelligence report that says US strikes on Iran only set its nuclear program back by a few months. Speaking at a NATO summit in The Hague, Mr. Trump said the strikes led to the virtual obliteration of Iran's nuclear capabilities. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the preliminary Pentagon assessment was made with low confidence and the FBI was investigating the cause of the leak.
Actually, the report said it could have been they don't know. I mean, they did a report. I could have Pete talk to it because his department did the report. They really don't know. I think Israel's going to be telling us very soon because Bibi is going to have people involved in that whole situation. We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration.
The amount of munitions, 6 per location. Any assessment that tells you it was something otherwise is speculating with other motives. And we know that because when you actually look at the report, by the way, it was a top secret report, it was preliminary, it was low confidence. All right, so this isn't, you make assessments based on what you know.
They said it could be very devastating, very serious.
Moderate to severe, and we believe far more likely severe and obliterating.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has said that there is no alternative to the 32 member states spending more on defense, given the threat from Russia and the broader international security situation. The leaders of the Western Defensive Alliance have gathered in The Hague, where they are set to commit to spending 5% of national output on defense and related infrastructure.
We have just concluded the formal part of the NATO summit in The Hague. Of course, there will be many other meetings later today and this afternoon. And together, allies have laid the foundations for a stronger, fairer and more lethal NATO. NATO leaders agreed on the The Hague Defence Investment Plan. And this will fuel a quantum leap in our collective defence.
It always seems impossible until it is done.
A young left-wing candidate, Zoran Mamdani, is poised to become the Democratic nominee for New York mayor after delivering a stunning political upset. The 33-year-old Democratic Socialist declared victory in the party's primary, defeating his main rival and political veteran, Andrew Cuomo.
He ran a highly impactful campaign.
Mr. Cuomo was attempting to pull off a comeback after resigning from office in 2021 over a sexual harassment scandal. He congratulated his opponent for a really smart and great campaign.
And thank him for his campaign.
They want to kill us. You see what they did to us?
Police have fired tear gas as thousands of Kenyans marched through Nairobi and other cities. The protests are in honor of those killed in a huge anti-tax demonstration a year ago today. There is a huge deployment of police in Nairobi and other major cities. The government repeatedly ordered TV stations to halt live coverage. Schools and businesses have been closed for fear of violence. Eurostar passengers are facing a second day of severe delays after 2 people died on the railway track in France and then cables were stolen. The high-speed rail operator has told passengers to cancel or postpone their trips, with a number of services cancelled and delayed on routes serving London, Paris, Brussels and Amsterdam. 2 people died in separate incidents on the LGV Nord high-speed line between Lille and Paris on Tuesday, closing the line for much of the day. Protesters in Venice are claiming an enormous victory after the US tech billionaire Jeff Bezos and his wedding guests were forced to leave the city centre, moving their main celebration to another location. Protesters were arguing if he could afford to rent a large part of Venice for his wedding party, he should pay more in taxes. A local official in Venice has now confirmed the guests will gather further from the city centre.
Ignition, and lift.
And Indians have been celebrating the successful launch of the Axiom 4 mission, which has taken off with a multi-country crew, including an Indian astronaut. Group Captain Shabanshu Shukla, who's piloting the mission, has become only the second Indian to travel to space. His trip comes 41 years after cosmonaut Rakesh Sharma became the first Indian to fly to space aboard a Russian Soyuz in 1984. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. The Nigeria Basketball Federation has released the 20-player preliminary roster for the senior women's national team, the Tigers, ahead of the 2025 FIBA Women's AfroBasket tournament. The list includes a mix of seasoned veterans and emerging talent as the team begins its preparation for the Continental Championship. Preparations are expected to begin soon as the team looks to build chemistry and finalize the squad for the championship. The final roster will be trimmed ahead of the tournament tip-off. Cristiano Ronaldo is close to agreeing a new contract with Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr. The 40-year-old Portugal captain's deal was due to expire at the end of June, but sources indicate a 2-year extension is close to being finalized. Ronaldo posted on social media that chapter is over following the Riyadh club's final Saudi Pro League game of the season last month, leading to speculation he was set to leave. Meanwhile, Al Nassr have parted company with the Italian coach Stefano Pioli. No official reason was given for the split after only 9 months in the post, but Pioli's name has been linked with joining Fiorentina for a second spell in charge of the Serie A side. Pioli, who guided AC Milan to the 2022 Serie A crown, only joined Al Nassr in September 2024. Prior to this near 5-year stint at AC Milan, the 59-year-old coached several other Italian sides, including Inter Milan, Lazio, and Bologna. That Sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. House of Representatives has stepped in following widespread outrage over the recent Yellowater killings in Benue State. Lawmakers are launching a probe into the persistent violence in the region. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night and stay safe.